Greetings and welcome to the lovely town of New Haven. Now, we're going to drive back to Brighton. I want to talk, recently, I don't know whether you guys have noticed on my YouTube page, I've been putting out a few polls on the political spectrum. I've been interested in where my viewers lay politically and on different issues. The first poll that I put out was basically just sort of judging where people feel like they lay on the political spectrum, if they're more left-leaning, right-leaning, centre-leaning. And then another poll that I threw out was, well, I put a little bit of a spanner in the mix where I just sort of asked, how do you feel economically? Do you feel left or right wing economically, and how do you feel on social issues, left, right? And it's really interesting to see the results. And the main reason I was putting these polls out, let me just clean my windscreen, a little bit grubby. Main reason I was putting these polls out is because, like a lot of people, I really feel like the political dial has been so swayed over the last few years. You know, this label of left and right, and no one really knows where they sit anymore. I got so many comments saying, well, I don't even know where the centre is anymore, and I don't even know. And I think some of these labels are futile. Like, traditionally, the left-right political divide was about economics, wasn't it? You know, the far left end of the spectrum would be communism, and the far right end of the spectrum would be unregulated free market capitalism. You know, that's traditionally where the left-right divide was economic. It was always economic. But in recent years, I feel that's completely changed. I think it's now people judge left and right on social issues. They'll class you as left-wing if you support LGBT rights, or you're for immigration, or you're against racism, and people will call you right-wing if you're against immigration, and you're not happy with the woke culture, isn't it? I think the woke stuff is where most people now consider, when they talk about left and right, that's what they think about. And for one main reason, I don't think this is good, and I don't think this is healthy, because another thing that I established from this poll that I put out is I truly believe the majority of the country actually lean left on economics. I think the majority of the country want a well-funded, well-run NHS service. I think the majority of the country feel comfortable with the rich, the billionaires out there, you know, paying their fair share of tax. I think a lot of people now, especially with things like nationalisation of the railways and nationalisation of water, things like this, I think the majority of this country sit to the left of economics. But a lot of people would not associate themselves and not call themselves left-wing. But economically, I think this is mainly where we are in the country. I mean, those examples there are perfect. I mean, people are seeing the effects of a private railway where prices are sky high. They're seeing the effects of private water where we're pumping sewage into our seas. You know, they're seeing the devastating effects of more privatisation in the housing market, with landlords ripping us off. You know, it's really interesting that economically, I think overall in this country, we do seem to lean left. And it's just this social area where we seem to have a bit of a divide on social issues. You know, that's why I'd love to go back to the more traditional, you know, political equations where left and right was economics, and social issues like your woke stuff and your immigration and things like this would be labelled conservative or liberal. You know, I think they're much more useful terms, because it would be really good if we could all associate ourselves being left-wing economically. And the problems arise when you have a Tory party which I guess are right-wing on social issues, but nowhere near left-wing on economic issues. And that's what the majority of people, I think a lot of people that voted Conservative are probably left-wing economically, but right-wing socially. If we could just get that in tune and have a government that is economically left-wing, then we can sort out our differences on the social issue. You know, we can do it better. But I don't think there's an actual home. I don't think there's a political home for a large percentage of the population that would deem themselves left-wing economically, but more conservative on social issues. I don't think there's a political party for them, but there's a lot of people that think like this. Even me, to a certain extent. You know, I am very left-wing economically, but socially, I do have a lot of conservative values as well that would be deemed. You know, things like the benefit system and people out of work. You know, I want to encourage people to go to work because I think hard work pays, and a life on benefits is just not a great life. It's just full of depression, and it's not good for anything. You know, I want to encourage people to go and work and get the benefits of work. Even immigration. You know, I'm for controlled immigration. You know, we need to set up asylum centres in France to get the right people over. I'm for controlled immigration, but when you look at the stats, you know, last year with 700,000 net migration, you know, we haven't got 700,000 spare houses. I mean, it comes down to maths at the end of the day, doesn't it? You know, I think a lot of people sit in this area of politics in this country. Why are you stopping at a green light, mate? Come on, shift it. He's looking at that red light. That's for the buses. For the buses. But yeah, I think a large portion of the population in this country sit in that area, left-wing economically. And if we can get that sorted, if we can get a political party that is left-wing economically, we can sort out the social issues. But that is the most important thing to sort out. We need to get away from, I think, a lot of these people that deem themselves conservative on social issues like immigration and the woke stuff voted for the Tories, but they don't want right-wing economics. They don't want, like, Liz Truss is the most bonkers far-right economics you can get. I mean, pure free market, unregulated capitalism is what she wants. She wants to hand over billions and billions in tax cuts for the rich to get that trickle-down economics. No one in this country really wants that. I don't think so. You know, maybe the mega rich, the majority of people don't want that, or maybe some people that are not that well off that have seen some bullshit podcasts about libertarian economics or something and how great it is. But no one really wants that. And then going back to David Cameron, just cut and cut and cut and cut and cut, and no spending on public services whatsoever, cutting the police, taking away training for British people to become nurses, just cutting the asylum process, everything, just cut. I don't think anyone really wants that in this country. I really don't. And yeah, I just find it really interesting, that political divide where I just think these left-right labels have been so screwed over the years that they don't even mean what they're supposed to mean anymore. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Am I rambling absolute shit? Yeah, please tell me if you think I am. But I seriously think I'm onto something here. I don't think there is definitely not a political party for people that are economically left-wing and socially conservative. And I think a lot of people sit in that area in this country. Let me know. If you enjoyed the video, click like. If you haven't subscribed, you can subscribe up top. And till next time, take care.